You know why you're here. Don't pretend you don't know. It's because you're fucking I was just joking. I mean, as long as you're not as bad as this player, you'll be fine. For tonight's video, I decided that I've had enough of survivors making mistakes that aren't warranted. So today, I'm gonna be showing footage of my recent ranked matches as Survivor and pausing and commentating over areas of the match that I believe survivors have made a mistake and what they can do to avoid it, and what you can do if you suffer from these mistakes to avoid them, and what to involve in your thinking process so you can reduce your chances of making similar mistakes. Enjoy! This is the postman's first mistake, because he would have heard the heartbeat a long time ago, or at least way before she came out of factory and sent the cat toward him. So, yeah, he took too long to respond to the and coming out of factory. And on top of that, I felt like you should be heading to Shack, a pretty safe place to kite the hunter the moment you hear the heartbeat. Or at least look around and see which direction they're coming from, This is another mistake from the postman, leaving a strong loop, which that being Shack. Although Shack isn't that great of a place to kite Ann at, when you're playing postman and you're looping at Shack and it's an Ann, he can actually do just fine. Because a little thing, I don't know if postman players know this, and I don't know if you know this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. If Ann is slowed down, whether that be by Wick, your dog, or an acrobat black bomb, if she's slowed down, the amount of distance she covers when she leaps or jumps is reduced. So honestly, I feel like the right call was to go out that basement doorway, to make a left round, make a circle back around to that Shack pallet, throw it down, then vault the window and start heading to that middle area. And if she hits you while you're there, use that speed boost you get from the hit to go to factory. And, you're in a lot better of a position than going to Christmas tree and then using those crappy pallets that won't do anything against an Ann. Also, by factory, I mean, going up those stairs outside factory and then going to that God window. That's what I meant by factory. Something I said earlier that I forgot to look at is I said go to the middle area, take a hit, and use that speed boost from the hit to get to the factory God window. Looking back, the postman was injured when he reached his Shack, so that kind of changes things a bit, which would mean you can't take that hit and go to factory God window. I will show you an example of how I would kite that Ann using postman right now. I forgot to clarify that the only time, or the times you should transition away from the place you're kiting at, even if it's strong, kind of like what I did when I was leaving Moongate with those 3 pallets. The reason why I left that area is because if I continue to tight kite that area against an Ann, I'll get stunned and I'll go down. I see survivors do this a lot, and I mean a lot. Please, 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 please don't ever go for rescues this early. You're just, like, if you're going for the rescue this early without Tide Turner, you're just killing your teammate faster. And that is something you don't want to do for obvious reasons. There are situations where you need to quickly rescue your teammate. And, Anne is one of those hunters where you need to get to the chair as early as possible. But you need to get there as early as possible. That doesn't mean you need to rescue as soon as the person gets on chair. Against a hunter like Anne, or against a hunter who camps very well, it's ideal to get to the chair as it is about to hit midway of second stage. Like when the chair has reached 25% of its timer. You don't want to rescue immediately, especially when you don't have Tide Turner, because all you are doing is that you are farming that person off the chair, and then the hunter's just gonna knock them, put them back on chair, and boom, their timer will be at 50%, and they'll only have another 30 seconds to live. A thing you want to do against camping hunters is you want to get to the chair again as soon as you can, but you don't want to rescue as soon as you can. But at the same time, you also don't want to rescue just before that 50% mark. Because especially hunters who are good at camping, and hunters like Anne who can delay that rescue attempt, they'll guarantee that you rescue after half. If you want clarification on what I mean by this, there is a link in the description, a video by Psyche. It is a rescue guide, and I highly recommend it if you just want a rough idea on what you're supposed to be doing against each and every hunter. Albeit, there's some hunters it has left out, but I will try to cover those as soon as I can with another video. But take that during the meantime. He covers basically everything you need to know when there is to rescuing, how important it is, and on top of that, how early you are expected to be at the chair to rescue against each hunter. I would call out Enchantress players for this, but let's be honest, these are like majority of stunner characters or people who play stunners. Please do not harass a hunter, or do not harass for another survivor if you yourself is injured. That leaves you super vulnerable. And if the hunter mind games you, guess what? You go down. And then if it's a hunter like Anne and Naiad, a high mobility hunter, they'll just catch up quickly to their original target. Meaning that you harassed, and then you went down, and you going down did absolutely nothing for the survivor they were originally chasing. Because they still got caught 5 seconds or 10 seconds or even 15 seconds after you went down. So not only are you giving the hunter extra pressure by having yourself not be decoding, but you also don't buy the teammate you're trying to buy time. So please, if you are injured, do not harass. I know it is hard, because, Enchantress, Prospectors, the new Survivor, Antiquarian, they're kind of like not made, but, they're good at harassing. But that still means you shouldn't harass at every opportunity you have. The correct call for this Enchantress was to go back to her cipher, or go back to any cipher, and just start decoding. Because at least it would be efficient, and it would, it would prevent me being the only decoder in this whole team. There are exceptions to this rule. One of those exceptions that you will come across every once in a while is if you need to buy time for a survivor who is dead on chair, and the rest of your teammates are nearing the final cipher to being primed. So let's say you're some harasser like Enchantress, and like in this clip. Let's say the hunter is chasing a survivor who is dead on chair, and your other one or two teammates is getting the cipher, decoding, and getting it near being primed. That would be an example of where you would harass the hunter no matter if you're injured or healthy, and just buy your teammate as much time as you can. And if you go down, that's fine because you're buying your teammate time to decode the final cipher. Another exception to this rule is if you are playing Entomologist, because she can harass without putting herself in danger. So if you want to harass the hunter as an Ento, you may, because you're not putting yourself at danger. You're still not decoding, but if you truly think your teammate needs the help from your bees, or if you truly think they need time to transition somewhere better as you push the hunter away or slow them down, you can do that, because Ento can harass without putting herself in danger. Another exception to this rule would be if your teammates or your team is ahead on ciphers, meaning that the person who is kiting the hunter has kited long enough for your team to do 3 ciphers, meaning there's 2 ciphers left. Like, that would be a situation in which you can harass and body block or do whatever to help the teammate that's kiting, because you only need 2 survivors to do those last 2 ciphers. So as long as only one other survivor is helping that 4th survivor in terms of kiting, your team won't be behind on ciphers, nor will they not be efficient. So that's another exception to this rule. This is another example of a survivor mistake being made. Gravekeeper is trying to take a hit for Postman by going underground and, hoping to take a hit with his shovel. But that's not ideal, nor is it suggested. What he should have done is just head to the pallet, throw it down, and give the Postman time without needing to have himself throw it down. I'm assuming the reason why a Gravekeeper is there is because he saw Postman go down and then started heading to him, assuming that he'd get chaired. So I'd say the only mistake here is having Gravekeeper should have just thrown the pallet down instead of going underground, or instead of burrowing and trying to take a hit. Just throw the pallet and then go help the Enchantress. That's kind of the only mistake here. So Gravekeeper is, proxying the chair, waiting for an ideal time to go for a rescue. But right here, he was way too close to the Anne. The moment the Anne recalled her cats, that was his call to move away, or better yet, go underground, not better yet, or alternatively, go underground, go right next to the chair, and wait for the cats to go away. Because if you are that close to the chair and the Anne has her cats out, she can just leap to you or leap towards you if she's good with her curves. So the Gravekeeper made a mistake by getting too close to that chair. Because as you will see, he will get smacked because the Anne jumped to him, and then he will get stunned and then stuffed. He should have kept his distance, wait for the cat to disappear, and as soon as he do, he needs to start making his way towards the chair. This is probably just me being nitpicky, but if the Enchantress used her 3 stacks a bit too early. Rescue the survivor, get the Postman off the chair, wait for her attack recovery to finish completely like down to the millisecond, and then stun her. So you can buy the postman as much time as you can provide to have him go somewhere better. Probably be factory, as that's the closest structure to him. Isn't too bad against Anne. Another mistake Postman made is that he is dead on chair, and on top of that, he's injured. If the hunter finds him, he's just an easy kill. If you are dead on chair, and especially if you are injured and dead on chair, you should head to the safest spot of the map, or try to stay hidden as best you can, because you are the weakest link of the entire team if you are dead on chair and if you are injured. I'm not saying that in terms of like your skill level is that low. I mean, like, the hunter will have an easy time picking you off because you are injured and you're dead on chair. So it's just, an easy kill. So if you find yourself in a similar situation where you're dead on chair and injured, head to the safest part of the map. Especially if the hunter lost you. Because the Anne did briefly lose him, and then she found him again. Because he was at a cipher when he shouldn't be. What he should be doing is sitting at the top of Factory's God window and waiting there and asking and requesting for someone to go and heal him. Because again, if you are injured and you are dead on chair, you are the weakest link, and you need to keep yourself hidden and safe. Because if you die, the whole team will suffer. Ooh, and this is going to be a good one. I myself made a mistake here that I realized that I made upon, looking back at this match. And that was, I left my cipher too early. I left to go rescue that Gravekeeper too early. What I should have done is keep decoding my cipher to the point it was primed, and then pick up my box, and then go for rescue. Or better yet, just prime the cipher and just go for the rescue. Because there's no point in trying to get the rescue before half. You want to delay the rescue as much as you can, even if that includes letting the survivor hit over half. If that means the enchantress can finish her cipher, head over to your cipher, and then by the time you get the rescue, and you hit the hunter with Tide Turner, she'll be able to get there and pop the cipher. So this was a mistake on my end. I should have kept decoding and get that cipher to like 90%, or preferably primed, so that when the enchantress gets there and I get the rescue with Tide Turner, she can pop the cipher and we'd have an easier time getting a tie. But because of this mistake, I basically guaranteed our team a loss. Do not camp pallets. Camping pallets is not a thing you want to do if you're the one who's kiting that often, because some hunters will anticipate it. You will get pallets spawning and you just, give them a free hit. And then on top of that, in this case, where the merc doesn't have line of sight as to where the geisha is coming from, only a rough direction as to where she's coming from because of where the butterfly came from, he shouldn't be camping the pallet. He should be setting himself in a position where he'll see which direction she'll be coming from, no matter what. And then, preemptively react to it, compared to sitting behind a pallet and just waiting for her to appear around the corner, which will give you little time to react. Because as you will see, he will panic throw the pallet and then panic vault it, and it'll unfold. I believe this is Merc's mistake number 2. As you just heard a couple seconds ago, or a second ago, the geisha dashed, and the dash wasn't successful, meaning that her dash is on cooldown. So I think when that Merc approached the pallet, he should have thrown it down, and as she breaks the pallet, because she can't throw a butterfly over the pallet and dash, she can't dash to the Merc because her dash is on cooldown. So the best call would be for him to throw the pallet down and use that distance she spends, or that time she spends breaking that pallet, going to those 2 pallets. Because those pallets are relatively strong, and pallets that she will have a hard time, successfully mind gaming with their butterflies and stuff like that. So, he should have used that time she spent breaking that pallet, going to those 2 other pallets that were ahead of him to his right, instead of looping this gimmicky, not very safe loop against the geisha, because it has a low ledge that she can just throw a butterfly over and dash to and easily hit you. This is a good example of waiting out that chair time and rescuing before half, and not insta-rescuing like that Enchantress from last match. This is a mistake I did. My initial plan was to hit her with the red ball and take a hit in hopes that she would feel incentivized to go for me, because if she switches targets away from the Merc and go for me, she basically has nobody near death chair anymore, or nobody near being dead on chair. But she didn't take the bait. She continued going for the Merc, and I thought about it, and honestly, I should have just, the moment I get the chair rescue, I should have started charging the red ball and, hit her with it. And the reason why you want to charge it up is so that when you hit her with the ball, you go further and reduce the risk of her turning around and hitting you, like she did with me. Also, I'm going to cover another mistake Mercs tend to do, or people that rescue with Tide. When you rescue somebody, or, like, if you're going for the first rescue in the match, like I did with the Merc, and so far your teammates aren't doing that well with ciphers because the person who kited didn't kite for that long, you don't want to take 2 hits for the survivor that got off chair. I see Mercs do this like every once in a while, where they rescue the survivor off chair with Tide Turner and they proceed to take double hits, triple hits, or even quadruple hits for the survivor that got off chair. Do not do this. Unless your team has 2 ciphers left and they're caught up and they're close to finishing them, you don't want to do this, especially if there's 3 or even 4 ciphers left, because what you're doing is you're giving the hunter free pressure, and guaranteed this survivor's not doing a cipher, confirmation. So you don't want to do this strat. Ideally, in high tier, what Mercs do is they just go in and out. But they get the rescue, then they leave. They don't ever take double hits. Because if they take a double hit, that is massive, and that is pressure the hunter is given, and more time that survivors aren't decoding a cipher. If you are, coming with the question as to why Mercs don't take double hits for survivors, is because, again, unless your team is doing good on ciphers and you practically are like in a high chance of winning, you don't want to take double hits for a survivor, because again, you are guaranteeing the fact that the hunter will know that you're not going to be decoding for a set amount of time that can vary depending on how many stacks of shell shock that you have. And with that time, they can have more, and with that time, they can spend more time chasing their original target or survivor, and being less punished if they take longer than expected or longer than usual. So again, don't take double hits, because Merc is not made to take double or triple hits for survivors. He's not a body blocker. He's a rescuer. He goes in the rescue, then he leaves to go decode. He does not take triple hits for survivors that get off chair with Tide Turner. Because what you do as a rescuer is you rescue the person, then let Tide Turner do everything else. Because what Tide Turner does, pretty sure you already know what it does, but I'm just reiterating what it does to show you what I mean. Tide Turner, when you rescue somebody, it gives you and the person you rescue 20 seconds of I can't go down no matter how many times you hit me effect. And that is basically 20 guaranteed seconds that your team can use decoding. And those are very valuable seconds, especially if you have more than one Tide Turner. So please, this is why Mercs should not be taking double hits or triple hits for survivors that get off chair, because you are hurting your team's efficiency with ciphers. There are exceptions, and if you want to know what these exceptions are, you can ask me in the comments below. But please, do not take triple hits for survivors after you rescue them with Tide Turner. That is not what Merc is made for. Merc, I believe, or pretty sure Merc should have just gone on the roller coaster with little girl, because at least there would be a generous amount of distance away from the geisha, and then on top of that, she'd still be in the position of who should I go for. Obviously, she would go for the Merc, but you know, the two survivors, the little girl and the Merc, would have more distance on her compared to the Merc staying at first stop and just going down the railing. Because Geisha can throw a butterfly up and down the railing and teleport up and down the railing. So looping this is not effective against Geisha at all. He should have either used those two pallets that are beside first stop or go in the roller coaster with little girl and then split up. So Geisha doesn't get the opportunity to chase two people for one. Because of this decision Merc made, we kind of were guaranteed a tie. If he just took that roller coaster with little girl, I'm not saying that it would have guaranteed a win, but I am sure it would have given us a way better chance at getting a win, because Geisha wouldn't have downed her or downed him as quickly as she would have. The reason I stuck around in this area was in hopes of giving Geisha tinnitus, in which I did, and she would decide, oh, I have tinnitus, I'm gonna look around instead of teleporting to that gate where prisoner's at. But unfortunately, she didn't take the bait. She instead just teleported to the other gate and caught the prisoner. So that was kind of like my last effort of trying to secure us a win. So yeah, that's my reasoning as to why I was crouching and hiding and sticking near to the geisha. Here is my reasoning for as to why I use my flywheel effect there instead of saving it. I personally think it's better to have the Ripper physically or manually hit you with this weapon and put him under cooldown, compared to having him hit you with with this fog blade, having him suffer no cooldown, and then on top of that catch up with you faster because you leave a fog trail in which he walks faster in. So that's my reasoning as to why I didn't tank the Foggy Blade hit, because I didn't want to give him an attack that had no attack cooldown, and then on top of that catch up fast. I'm a Mind's Eye. I need to buy as much time as I can, and one of the things I can do is make sure the hunter hits me manually, and not do like secondary attacks. Unless it's someone like Bomb Bomb, but we're talking about Ripper in this specific situation. Here is a survivor mistake that I made that I somehow got away with, but let's assume that I died because, I made a mistake. I should have been more patient. I thought he would be one of those hunters where he doesn't double back. He doesn't mind game. He types it, he kind of brute force like everything. I thought he'd be one of those hunters that would commit to walking around the corner. I did not think he would double back. So that was a mistake on my part. I should have been more patient. Another survivor mistake on my part. I got really cocky because I knew the hunter swapped targets. I was like, okay, he's not gonna swap back to me, so I may as well do this cipher, right? I mean, it's efficient, but it's not safe. And now that I look back at it, it's not suggested. I should have went to a much safer cipher. Because if it wasn't for the fact that Painter was here, I would have gone down. So, yeah, if you're somehow in this situation where the hunter switches targets, and if you're someone like a weak decoder, like Mind's Eye, or someone who doesn't have something to help them out when they're in an unsafe kiting area, like the one I was in, just go to somewhere safer and decode. An example of that would be church. It would be safer than decoding at back reception where there's nothing to work with. At least I would see the Ripper from a further distance, or I would not be caught off guard, nor would I not have nothing to work with. Bottom reception as Mind's Eye and not running broken windows, I'm kind of in a rut when it comes to getting caught there at that kite area. So that was a mistake on my part. this was a costly mistake on the doctor's part. We know the hunter has teleport. He doesn't have peepers, otherwise I would have pinged her, or one of my teammates would have pinged that he had peepers, and he doesn't have blink, otherwise we would have heard it. So it's safe to assume that the Ripper has teleport, and at this point, if the gate isn't at like 75% by the time Painter goes down, you may as well not even bother with the gate. Because by the time Painter gets chaired and dies, he's just going to teleport to most likely your gate. So the doctor kind of costed us a win by, choosing to open this gate when it was nowhere near being opened. So the right call here, or at least if I was in this situation as a doctor, I would have started navigating towards either graveyard or... Actually, no, I would have started walking towards graveyard or dungeon spawns, or better yet, like anywhere towards the middle. Because if the Ripper teleports to the gate and he sees that I'm out there, and if my teammates don't ping that, he's over our gate, then, you can just book it to the church gate that Painter and I opened, compared to taking the gamble of the 50-50 which gate he'll teleport to and stuff like that. It's too risky, I think. So the safer decision from the doctor would have been to chill at dungeon, or look for dungeon and wait for us to leave, or tell us to leave when she finds it, or wait at middle and wait to see which gate he teleports to, and either head to dungeon or head to the gate he didn't teleport to, assuming he teleported to back gate, not carpet gate. Alright, this is gonna be the end of my very, very, very long video. Probably the longest video I've uploaded so far. Enjoy the gameplay of a new game I will be uploading gameplay of soon. Wow, that was a tongue twister. So enjoy this new game that I have been playing for quite a while. And it's a little sneak peek at a new and upcoming video. So yeah, this is my outro. If you have any questions, concerns, or literally anything you want to say or ask about the video or in regards to the video, or you want to seek for advice, there's a server where you can ask to be mentored as survivor or hunter. And then on top of that, if you just want to ask anything, feel free to ask me. I'd be more than happy to ask your questions. So yeah, this is the end of my video. Enjoy the rest of this footage. I'm gonna cut it a bit short so you don't see the entire thing, because this is a part of the this is gonna be the part of the video I'm gonna upload of Apex. So enjoy the footage, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.
Battery here. Popping round. Reloading.
Ultimate's off cooldown. Who wants to see it rain?
Hyping you up. Popping round. Shots coming. Reloading. Hyping you up. Enemy on the scene. Two legends left. Let's make this next kill. Healing. Phoenix kit here. We got a party crasher.
Opening fire. Reloading. Decoy escape deployed. I got a bad guy.
Phoenix kit here.
Opening fire. This is great news. You're the new kill leader, and I'm still alive.
New kill leader. Watch your six.
New kill leader here. Topping the charts like always. I trashed that no-hit wonder. One creep still creeping around here somewhere. Believe the hype.
Target's right in front of me.
Later, squad. Thanks for coming.
Reloading.
Medkit here. Extended light magazine here. Level 3.
Reloading.
Phoenix kit here. Ultimate's ready.
My ultimate's ready.
Warning. Ring movement in progress.
We're inside the ring. Got the positional advantage.
Reloading.
Care package being delivered.
I bet.
Shotgun bolt here. Level 3.
Replicator being delivered.
Reloading. Check out that replicator coming in.
Round 3.
Send out
Beginning
my
ring
decoy.
countdown.
Target's right in front of me.
Shields battery here.